Happy Wednesday. I hope you're doing well. Pretty nice weather here in Wisconsin. We had some mid 60s, 50s today. Still pretty decent. Going to drop a little, but hey, it's a wild, unpredictable winter, and I'm just going to go along for the ride. So, I was trying to think of a topic for this week, and something that popped in my head just based on multiple conversations I've been having is kind of pushing yourself outside your comfort zone and with your writing. And what I mean by that is um, I've had the opportunity recently to write things that weren't maybe in my core things that I typically write. If you know anything about me right now, obviously what I published first was sci-fi. Over the years, I've written a lot of science fiction and fantasy stuff. That seems to be where my interest level lies and where I migrate the most to. But probably one of the most rewarding experiences I've had in the last few months was when I got asked to be part of that Mosaic anthology that I've mentioned a few times, which is coming out later this year. And you're going to start hearing more, I think, come April about that. I'll share it on my various channels. But I had the opportunity, and I know I've shared this for those of you that watched my videos before, but I'm going to recap real quickly. The theme of the book is the anthology is people. And, I could have written science fiction fantasy for that as long as it had some sort of central theme around that, and that would have been perfectly acceptable. But I had this sort of story stuck in my head that I wanted to do based on my own life, loosely, but it's a short story about a guy who inexplicably is just racked with like grief over the fact that this ex-girlfriend of his from 20 some years ago dies unexpectedly, and she wasn't that great to him, and he doesn't know why it's affecting him, but it sort of just spirals from there, that it's not just about her, it's about as you get older and loss and like other people that he's lost in his life, and it sort of gets him at a real moment of reflection in his life. And most of it's fiction, but it's also pulled from things that, like my own life, like I've mentioned before, that my best friend passed away about 5 6 years ago, and that had a deep effect on me. And just just time. I don't feel that old, but I'm pushing 50, and you can't help but reflect a little bit. So anyway, that was sort of the impetus for that, and I had this story in my head. Mosaic came along. I committed to it so that I would actually do something with it, and I feel just tremendously enriched by having done that. And taking it all full circle here, I think it's just the comfort zone thing. It's like I'd be perfectly happy writing fantasy and science fiction, but given the opportunity to do something that was like contemporary, not fantastical, just about people and relationships and past relationships and life. I was really proud of the fact that I at least thus far, I mean, the judgment will be out there when it's out in the world, but thus far I feel like I pulled it off. And even a little bit, I've been talking about these short stories I've been writing in the Gamma Trita universe, and I've kind of challenged myself with a couple different things that are going to come up in there. Like most recently, the fourth one I'm working on is a little bit of a murder mystery. Now, I'm no Darren Miller or some of these other great fantasy writers or murder mystery writers out there, but I was kind of proud that I got to try something like that. I'm not going to ever claim to be a writer in that genre, but having this short story environment kind of gave me the medium to try something. And I'm going to keep doing that because I think that I think obviously you don't want to go crazy with that to the point where you distract yourself and you don't even know who, you don't have a focus. But I think more importantly, I think if you kind of push yourself like that, it kind of gives you a chance to grow as a writer and give you a chance to kind of give yourself challenges to overcome. So I'd be interested to know, those of you out there that are writers that are watching this. I mean, you probably got a core thing you write. Have you ever pushed yourself beyond that and found unexpectedly cool results? I guess too, if you're a reader, I mean, I brought this up before. You read things in a certain, like I read a lot of fantasy science fiction, but in the last few years, I've started reading other things. Like I've read romances, I've read biographies about people I never heard of, and it was really cool. So I guess it's about pushing boundaries and not limiting yourself in general with creativity as a consumer or an outputter. And I'd be interested to hear other people's experiences with that. As always, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.